All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing. And today we are going to go over realtor safety, which is not something that you always want to talk about, but it is something that we should devote a little bit of time to at least a few times a year, because safety is absolutely the most important thing. No reason to do a job if you're going to be, put at risk. So today, we're not going to be joined by Bill Seitz, corporate broker, or Cameron Alley from Clearview Mortgage. They are back in Michigan with the UWM team, learning more about mortgage. And so they won't be joining us today, but we will just hop right into today's topic. And so first of all, thank you for all the agents who are on the line. We have a lot of new agents as well. Tequila Palms, good morning. Rekha Patel, of course, all of our regulars. Also, Ina DeLorenzo and Dave Hennigan, Don Kearney, Eddie Espina, a lot of new agents. So very, very glad to have you guys on the line with us today. So when it comes to realtor safety, first of all, September is Realtor Safety Month with NAR. And I think that September is a great time to revisit realtor safety because the days are getting shorter. It's fall now, and statistics do show that most crimes occur in the dark. So as the days get shorter, then we have longer evenings. We have more dark time. So it is a great time to remind ourselves of some of these best practices for realtors when it comes to safety. So the first thing is when you are, you're first going to meet with a new client, you don't know who this person is, really good idea to set that initial meeting with the client in a public place. That way, there's definitely other people around. It's a really good opportunity to make a copy of your client's driver's license. Just take a picture with your cell phone. And make sure that you have them fill out a prospect identification form. And so I do have prospect identification forms for download in our Agent Resource Center. And so we'll go over that at the end of the presentation. So I've got client prospect identification forms. I've also got itinerary forms for you guys to file with a friend or a colleague, or even with the ARG office, just so somebody knows that you are, with that person. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So another really good idea is just to record the new client information electronically. Like I said, taking a picture of somebody's their driver's license, great first step. But also just make sure that you're taking that information down, put it in your CRM system. We want to have some kind of a track of who this person is, anybody they're dealing with, really, because, you deal with people, referrals, you deal with, internet leads, all different kinds of ways that people get in contact with you. And, 9 times out of 10, you don't know who these people are. So it's just a good idea to stay safe and to just keep some of these things in mind, right? So another good idea is to take down the person's license information. So license information, and I mean actual car license information. So, take down at least on a piece of paper or, in your cell phone, take down that information. That way you're creating some kind of a digital paper trail, right? Another thing for mostly for women agents, keep your jewelry under wraps. Don't, wear super blingy, flashy stuff. Of course, you want to look nice. You want to have, good, you want to present yourself in a great way, but you don't want to come off as, gaudy or, somebody that has, a whole bunch of money and it's obvious, right? That's just not really a good way to promote yourself. And it is a red flag for criminals, they say, oh, that's a good target, right? So just obviously look professional, but maybe don't put the giant rings on, or maybe don't, maybe maybe don't put the $10,000 Rolex on, for the first meeting, right? So that's obviously up to you guys, but I think it's a really good idea to just keep it under wraps, like the item 3 says, and that way you are, you're just presenting yourself as, not this gaudy, person that, obviously has so much money just, oozing out of your pockets, right? So number 4 is limit the personal information that you share. So as a realtor, your information is plastered all over the internet, most likely, but you still want to, make sure that you don't, give every single bit of information about yourself, right? So they don't need to know that your son, has a game tonight and is the school soccer star, right? Especially right when you meet somebody, right? You don't need to give all of those bits of information out there. You can definitely get to know the client and still build the relationship, but you don't have to give too much information about yourself, okay? Don't give everything about your family or where you live. There's a tendency to want to relate to our clients, but let's just keep in mind that we really don't know them and they don't need to know every single thing about us. You can be selective, right? Number 5 is separate personal from professional. Don't share your home address. Don't share, your home phone numbers or things like that on advertisements if you have a home phone still. Having separate email accounts for business and personal use, that definitely helps a little bit as well. That way, business things are going into one account and personal things are going to another account. I use that in my professional life as well. So I think that's a really good point to keep those things separate, right? Make your clients feel known. So introduce your prospect to someone in the office or a colleague, or make sure that they know that others know that you're with them, right? Especially for the first time. So, would-be assailants, they want to stay inconspicuous. They want to avoid detection, right? So the more eyes that are on them, the less likely they're going to make a move if they're planning on doing something bad. So let someone know your plans. And this is, again, I have an itinerary sheet that you guys can use. So you always want to let someone know where you're going, when you're going to be back, what your plan is, what you expect. You want to leave the name and the phone number of who you're going to be meeting with, plus any additional information that you have collected on the client, right? And so I do have a really cool, just an itinerary form that you guys can download off of the Agent Resource Center. And that is a great thing to just fill out, file with anybody. I mean, it could be a friend. Like I said, you could even, send it to me. We can file it, here at ARG. Just we have some kind of record of, who you were meeting with. I think it's a really, really good idea because, like I said, 9 times out of 10, we don't know the people that we're meeting with. So really good idea. Help your brokerage keeps tabs on you. Same thing, right? If you don't have anybody that you're working with closely in your area, you can certainly at least let us know. Hey, send us an email, send us a text. I'm meeting with so-and-so, and I'm expecting to be done by this time, right? Doesn't mean that we're gonna, follow up with you and keep tabs on you that way. But if something happens, we have, as a brokerage, we have the ability to, provide information to anybody that may be looking for you. So very, very important. Don't list properties as vacant. So of course, when you're listing your properties, listing them as vacant is kind of like an advertisement for would-be, squatters or would-be, assailants that might do something. So, you don't need to mention that, right? It's basically an open invitation to criminals when there's a vacant house over there, sweet, so don't mention that. And then obviously going to a vacant lot and finding squatters there, that's just not what's gonna, it's not gonna help your client, right? Number 10, never park in the driveway. So this is kind of an interesting one, right? So when you're showing a home, studies show that it's safer to park in front of the curb or, park at the curb in front of the house instead of in the driveway. So this allows more visibility to the neighbors If there's a conflict, also it's much easier to escape in your vehicle if you don't have to back out of a driveway. So, additionally, leaving your car in a driveway means the perpetrator could park behind you, making it more difficult to leave. So, if you get to a residence before the client, which is normally what happens, don't let them block you in. That's a red flag. If they do that, say, oh, would you mind moving your car? And the one thing I just want to put out there is trust your instincts. When things seem weird, they probably are. And, don't deny your instincts. If something's off, it's off. You can tell almost always. And, when something does go wrong and you look back, almost always there was something that seemed off, right? Something wasn't right. So really, be keen and really take note of your senses. Okay. So if something is interesting, if a client is doing something that's off, that's not right. And you probably will feel it in your gut and be assertive. Okay. The one huge word I want to use today is be assertive. Don't be gullible, and have your wits about you. It's very important. It could, literally save your life. It could make it so you avoid a horrible situation. So definitely keep all those little things in mind. Everything today, keep all this stuff in mind. And this graphic that we're going through right now, that's also available as a download in the Agent Resource Center. So show properties during the day for sure. Just like we were saying, most stuff, that's bad can happen in the cover of darkness, right? So show the properties during the day. If at all possible, I know that gets more difficult as the days get shorter. December gets dark about 5, so that's tough. But don't lower the shades or draw the curtains or blinds. Try to keep all that stuff open, just so if something happens, there's somebody could possibly see in. Number 12, choose a safe word or a code. So that's a really good call. So establish a distress word with a relative or close friend or a coworker. And so if you're in a strange situation, you can say something and you can call someone or text someone and use a code, which may, help you alleviate, some kind of a situation. So, establish a distress word. Not a bad idea. Hey, this is Jane. I'm at the office. Could you, send me that red file or, something like that? That means you're in danger, because sometimes you are, you've sent something, you don't want to alert the assailant that what's going on, right? And so a really good idea is to, have this little safe word that you can say. And so you can stay, kind of under the radar with respect to the assailant. So really good idea. Choose a safe word. And then have along the same lines is you definitely want to have, either a security app or you have your cell phone, and your cell phone is ready to click on your emergency number, right? So you have your contact of whoever is your emergency person ready to go. So that way, if something happens, you don't have to get your phone out, try to find who your person is that you're trying to your safety person. So it just makes it so it's a much quicker way to alert someone. So number 12 and number 14 and number 15 all kind of go together, right? Always have your cell phone with you, and just make sure that there are little apps that have instant panic buttons. So that's not a bad idea too. So you could have either one of those, but definitely, use those to your advantage. And then number 13 was leave your belongings in the car, right? Don't take your purse, don't take your laptop, lock those things in the trunk before you arrive. That way you're not encumbered by any of those other things, right? And then Number 16, really, really good point, is let clients walk in front of you. So when you're showing a house, you always want to lead the prospect by saying, and gesture with your arms, and here's the bedroom, and let them walk into the bedroom first. Let them walk into any room first. You want to be with your back to the exit. You want to be able to exit. You want to not be able to get trapped in a room. Okay. So letting your client walk in front of you as you kind of lead them through the home, that's a really, really good best practice. Okay. And always keep an eye on them for sure. And then you, along the same lines, you want to avoid attics and basements. You don't need to follow your client into a dark basement. You can say, "Yep, get on down there. I'm gonna stand up here at the top." You don't need to get trapped into any of these corners, right? You always want to be able to have some kind of an escape. Number 18 is look around your car. So when you're getting into your car alone, before or after, a meeting, you want to look in the back seat. You want to look underneath the car, lock the doors immediately when you get inside as a best practice. And, that way you're not going to get caught. Dress for the weather. So if your car breaks down or you need to escape in a dangerous situation on foot, you'll need to be dressed appropriately. And you don't want to be, if it's obviously Southern California and Northern California, it's not as important as, if you're living somewhere where there's snow or if it gets, really cold or really hot. So you just want to dress appropriately in case, you need to, escape on foot. Number 20 is take a self-defense class. Not a bad idea at all. So good course will help teach you the proper maneuvers to physically fend off an attack and to cover defense strategies and assertiveness and powerful communication tactics. So again, being assertive is super, super huge in, not getting into these situations that might cause you harm. Number 21 is never hesitate to call for help. Better safe than sorry. Don't hesitate to call 911 in an emergency. Better safe than sorry. You're going to go ahead and at least, you're making an effort. You're making an action, right? You're not just letting things happen. So you definitely don't want to hesitate to call 911 or to call your emergency contact. And even just have them on the line. Something feels weird. I'm going to get my contact on the line, and I'm just going to maybe even say, "Hey, I'm in a situation that's strange. Can I keep you on the line?" Right? Not a bad idea at all. So just 22, trust your first instincts. So often there's a reason why your intuition tells you something feels off. So you don't want to feel comfortable about the situation. If you do, you're gonna definitely want to trust your instincts and be assertive and say, "Hey, I don't feel good about this. I don't feel, safe right now." Ask questions. If there's something that you feel is off with your client, bring it up. Ask. Don't hesitate to be that assertive person. And if you take a self-defense class, they do have really good strategies for all of these things. And so a good self-defense class, it could be a 4-hour deal, it could be a 6-hour deal, there's a lot of different self-defense classes out there. And just having some of those tools and strategies that could save your life, no joke. So that is the majority of our presentation today. And I'm just going to check in the questions and answers. And Albert says, maybe another idea is to have a colleague with you. Absolutely. Having a colleague with you for a first showing is never a bad idea, and even a friend that's, not a realtor. Hey, do you want to come with me? I'm showing a house, so great call. Appreciate that. So you guys, don't take this stuff lightly. I know today was a little bit of a shorter webinar without Bill and Cameron, but really important stuff. So I'm going to make sure that this gets out to everybody on the replay. And if there's any questions about this stuff individually, of course, you can contact me directly, 949-285-7209. And also, let me just go to the Agent Resource Center real quick and show you guys exactly how you can download that stuff. I guess I got to bring it up first. Yeah, so in the Agent Resource Center now. Oh, sorry, guys, 1 sec. If I can bring it up. All right. So in the Agent Resource Center, of course, a lot of different resources, but down here in Tips and Resources, this is where you're going to be able to download our Agent Safety Itinerary Form. Okay, let me share that. So this form is, designed for you to complete the form and leave with either, a colleague or with anybody else. So this is really good. You're going to show what client you're going to be with, what you're going to be doing, and you're going to have those personal identification forms for that person, whether it's an ID or whatever you're using. So the agent itinerary form, really, really good idea. And like I said, you can download that from the Agent Resource Center. And then the other resource that we have for you guys is let me share this one. Okay, so this one is the prospect identification form. So if you have both of these two filled out, you can feel fairly confident and let the person know. Let the client know, okay, great, I'm taking down your information. If a would-be assailant is seeing you do these things, taking information down, processing these things, well, it's definitely going to be a deterrent, right? So they're probably going to say, you know what, I might not mess with this person. Maybe I'll, choose a different person to mess with. So again, don't hesitate to use these items, get into the Agent Resource Center. If you have questions, call me, and get out there, stay safe. And we look forward to seeing you all on the webinar next week. Have a great week, guys.